It's not Wednesday, but we have the garden guy in the house, Mike O'Rourke. We appreciate your time today. All right, the temperatures, we're seeing 70s, going up to the 80s, and then we're going to see some that might be in the 30s this week. If I've got plants outside, or I'm working on it, or I'm working on my lawn here, what is some of the advice of what I want to be thinking about right now?
What I'm really concerned about is, if you noticed right now, we've had an early spring. Actually, Sean, we've had an early summer.
Yeah, feels like
the plants, if you go driving up and down, let's say West Toledo, South Toledo, whatever, any part of Toledo, you're seeing all the beautiful ornamental trees blooming. Ornamental trees, they're not going to, if we go down to a below freezing situation and a frost, it's not going to kill those trees. Okay. What I am really concerned about is, let's say if you have fruit trees and you have the blooms that are out right now, and we have frost, a killing frost, you're not going to really get any fruit out of there. Do you know how frost works? You go into a dew factor that's accumulated into the air, and you go in accordance to what the temperatures are going to be or are at nighttime. If it dips down, temperatures dip down to freezing or below with a high dew factor on there, that moisture is going to collect onto the foliage and or onto the flower of the plant. It's not necessarily the cold that's going to knock them out, but it's the burning effect that that moisture creates when it freezes onto the plant itself. It can kill any fruit.
Okay.
Ornamentals, if you see some ornamentals that are blooming now, other than the trees, your flowers and things, you may want to try, if they predict that there's going to be a frost warning, a killing frost warning, I would suggest you either go over to Goodwill or Salvation Army or something, get some old queen-size sheets and cover them. Now, what you're doing right there is you're going to protect the plants from that moisture to collect on the foliage and or on the flowers, okay, and therefore you're going to protect it from killing, or, well, the buds being killed off.
Okay, so if the fruit tree catches the frost now and it dies off, will it produce any fruit for the rest of the year?
Well, the likelihood of it producing any fruit is none. Wow. I mean, if you've got an apple tree, if you've got a pear, if you've got a peach or whatever, it's going to kill those buds, okay, and you're not going to develop the fruit. The flower on anything is going to create some type of a fruit, whether it's dwarfed or whether it's going to come to mature size. You are going to stop that flower from allowing that fruit to develop fully.
Okay. What about plants? We get to the 70s some weekends, but then we're going to get down into the 30s here. Should I start thinking about planting now, even though it feels like we're in summer?
If you find anything, such as here's a good way to go ahead and you go to a garden center, let's say Black Diamond, or even the Andersons, some places like this, and you see anything outside in the wide open, generally that's going to be hardened. Generally, I can use Black Diamond as an example. We will not put anything outside that will not be able to be planted into the ground unless it was hardened. Okay. If you see it outside in the ground, it's good. I mean, outside in our sales area. But if you see something indoors that looks flowery and pretty, don't plant it outdoors yet.
Okay. What about my lawn? Should I start working on insecticides, seeding? What should I do?
You know what? Generally, let's start with crabgrass control. Crabgrass will normally not start germinating until about the second week in June, first or second week in June.
Is that a typical year, or this one?
Well, the last 5 years have been atypical.
Okay.
Right now, we would say anywhere late May, first part of June, you'll get a two-leaf stage of any crabgrass that's going to germinate. Crabgrass is an annual grassy weed. It dies out in the fall when the days get shorter, goes to seed, and it lays its seed on the ground. When temperatures on the ground are proper, as well as the air temperatures, it's going to germinate, usually around the end of May, first part of June. This year, we had summer temperatures for almost 3 weeks. Yeah. We are worried crazy as to whether or not crabgrass is already germinated or will germinate early. I'm not going to tell anybody to avoid putting down any crabgrass control with a fertilizer. Definitely put it down. Most crabgrass controls will have a residual, which means it'll last X amount of days for approximately 180 days. If you put it down now under pristine conditions, you probably will get control of some of it. That is the only blessing. If we get a killing frost, the two-leaf stage, if we did get some germination of crabgrass, it will stunt it or possibly kill it. Okay. So we're home free there.
A little bit of positive.
Insecticides right now is going to be a little premature, though. Okay. The reason is because the bugs, yeah, you're going to start seeing things flying around, but you're also noticing that grubs are coming up. Yeah. But lawn-damaging insects on an average basis, you got to wait until temperatures are steady, let's say above 60 degrees on a regular basis.
Right. Feels like that might be coming sooner rather than later.
I hope so. I really do.
We thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. And that's your talk back.